Or you moved to Crestview and you got some questions about moving to this area? Well, what we have in this video, maybe you've already done your research. We've got the 10 things that you don't know or don't necessarily know about living in Crestview, Florida. Just to give you a quick preview, we've got that small town feel with big opportunities. We've got abundance of natural beauty, and we got, oh my goodness, the most affordable housing here in the greater Destin, Fort Walton Beach area. So if that's what you're into, we got that and a whole bunch more coming at you soon, so stick around. What's up, everybody? This is Tim Whittemore with the Whittemore Group right here in the beautiful Destin-Fort Walton Beach area. If this is your first time to our channel, we do tons and tons of videos about everything you need to know about our area. So go ahead and click that subscribe button, click that little bell so you're notified every single time we got a new video coming out. Now, we do have tons of people asking what it's like to move here, need some questions, need some help. So if that is you, or it might be you, just give us a call, text, email, or shoot us a little paper airplane. Whatever you got to do, we got your back when moving here to the Crestview and the greater Destin-Fort Walton Beach area. All right, so let's get into the content. Let's go. What do we want to talk about Crestview? There are great things to go to Crestview about. One of my favorite things, so I'm going to go out of order, is going to be housing affordability. It's the best there. You're going to get the newest house. You're going to get the biggest lot. And you're still going to have access to everything around it. So even though Crestview is growing, we still have access to Knightsville, right? You still have quick access down to Eglin Air Force Base if that's where you're going to be working. It's okay access to get down to Hurlburt. I'm not big on traffic, so I mean, whatever. And then you also have quick access to I-10 if you want to jump down to Pensacola, head out to Tallahassee, or whatever. And don't forget that if you are going down to the Niceville area, you are just a quick jump across the bay to get into Destin, which of course is the destination place. All right, so when we look at housing affordability, since we're going to go there first, it is some of the best in our area. If you look at Destin, like the average single family home or the median that is in that area is like $800,000+, right? To get there and to live there. Now, if you don't mind driving 20, 30 minutes to get to your place, especially if you're in South Crestview, you can still have that same experience, but only pay the median at this time in 2023 is $322,900. Yeah, right? That's a third, almost a third of what that cost would have been, if actually moving in Destin. Now, there are expensive homes. The high of this past period that we have had was up to $1 million, but that thing was a mansion. And then the low was $40K, which was a trailer, and it was kind of falling apart from at least pictures that I could tell. But it is really nice. Again, it is going to give you the biggest lots. It's going to give you the better homes, the newer homes, and it's going to give you that. So if it is important to you while you're moving to our area to have the house versus being around the destination that you want to be around, it's a no-brainer. Crestview is the place for you. All right. So going back to the top, we said it was a small town feel with big opportunities. The big opportunities meaning that town is growing. They are building houses like you wouldn't believe. And it's mostly up in the North Crestview area, but they have a lot of newer developments, and they've revitalized a lot of what the downtown, like downtown Main Street, and they're getting a lot more shops. They're building out the Destin Commons. There's a lot of things coming in. So if you're going to do that, you also have opportunities there for work or whatever that you're looking for real estate investments. There are tons of different opportunities, and it's really close to the military infrastructure as well. So if you're working down at Duke Field, which is the closest installation, 7th Group, or down to Eglin, it's a good place to be. Now, number 2 that we have was the abundance of natural beauty. Because of that, there's a river that goes through there. You've got a ton of parks, and it's mostly it's a forest. It's a forest that you go through, so there's plenty of hiking. If you can get access to the Eglin Range, you don't have to be a military veteran or active military to get to it. You just have to watch a video online and do all these other things to get into it. There's a ton of different opportunities for you to go out and go hiking, go fishing, get into a Jeep and just bounce around in that. Whatever you want to do. There's a variety of parks, public parks as well, if you want to get into that. There's just tons and tons of outdoor activities for you to do, and it's, it really is. It's gorgeous there. All right, we already did number 3. So number 4 was the low crime rates. If you look at these statistics, and you could have fun with numbers. So as I was researching this, I was looking at some things, and it said it was super high, and that it was only 13 or 12% better than most of the other places. That means it's safe. I wouldn't look at that necessarily, because they could have fun with numbers to kind of frighten you. What I would look at is what the average is in Florida in comparison to Crestview. And when you look at it, it's within a few points. They usually go just based on theft and violent crimes, property. I think those are the 3 that they use, and then they kind of average them out. So if you go to something like Area Vibes or just look up crime rates, I would look at that comparison to give you a good feel. Now, most of which that you're going to find is in older Crestview, where a lot of that kind of happens. But in the newer developments and in those surrounding areas, especially north or more rural areas, you're not going to find that as much, if at all. So it actually is pretty low in those areas. Okay, number 5 is probably one of my favorite parts of Crestview, which is the hidden culinary delights. You wouldn't think going to Crestview was going to be the place to go find some delicious food, but yeah, it really is. And it continues to grow. If you want seafood, which if you're going to come down here to Florida, you might as well get some seafood, right? It's pretty fresh. Gulf's right there. Is the Emerald Isle Seafood Restaurant. You can definitely check that one out. Another popular place there is the Wild Olive. Go there. You also have the Crossing at Blackwater. You've got sushi. So Bamboo Sushi is actually one of my past clients' favorite places to go. They keep trying to get me to go in there. I haven't been there yet, so not sure. They do have a popular spot that's named Desi's. That's D-E-S-I-C's. Hideaway Pizza is from what I've heard is pretty good. I haven't actually personally had it. I'm actually pretty critical when it comes to pizza just because I grew up in New York State, and well, it's just different everywhere else. It's not as good. That's what I'm gonna tell you. It's not as good. All right, if you're looking for some sort of steakhouse, you've got Samuel's Roadhouse. They've got the Gator Cafe, which is kind of a neat little place if you want to go in there. And interestingly enough, I'm going to mention Publix, and everybody, if you haven't had Publix before, there's a whole fan site for what they call pub subs, which is Publix subs, and they are pretty amazing. My favorite one to get out of there was the chicken tender sub, and it is just phenomenal. It's probably 2 meals in one, if not 3, but oh man, it's so good. But the reason I'm talking about Crestview's Publix is because that Publix actually has baked wings. Most of the time they're just fried, and that's where you're going to find them everywhere else. But I went into their deli section, and they actually baked the wings, and they were phenomenal. They were phenomenal. I don't know if they smoke them and bake them or whatever, but I was like, why? Why isn't this everywhere else? The Publix had the best wings in Crestview. And if we want to talk a little bit more mainstream, it also has the largest Chick-fil-A in all of Okaloosa County. That's right. Which, of course, if you like Chick-fil-A, if you've never had it, please enjoy it, but you can't enjoy it on Sundays. All right. So going on, we got number 6 is there's a strong sense of community. And generally people out there are going to be very warm and open. There's a lot of families. There's a lot of families that decide to live up there. There's a lot of military contractors, veterans, and it's really nice. They also hold a couple of events throughout the year for the community. And it's really, really nice. I think the reason the community is the way that it is because of the military and military veterans. A lot of people moved to this area, just like me, and didn't realize it exists. And I was like, this is pretty awesome. And then at the end of the career, end up coming back, right? So I am no exception to that. I was one of those. We are also just south of Alabama, so we also have that kind of southern hospitality that kind of mixes in. We're real close to the border, especially talking about Crestview. And then, we're also Floridians. So mix that laid back with the respectful community, mash them all together, and you got a nice place. You got a really nice community that you'll want to be a part of, and that's one of the major reasons that even I decided to move to this area. All right, number 7 is the proximity to the beaches, right? We kind of mentioned that at the beginning of this video, where you're able to get down to Destin beaches, get down to Fort Walton beaches. You can easily get down to Pensacola Beach via I-10. It's really not that far. Now, granted, yeah, you got to travel. It's still going to be 30 minutes regardless of which way that you go. One key note when we do talk about this, if you do decide to go down into Destin, you will have to pay on a toll bridge to get over it both ways. And I think at the time of this video it was like $3.50 each way. So if you want to avoid that, you can just simply go down through Fort Walton Beach and head into Okaloosa Island and get to all the free beaches and everything else that are there. I mean, that's one of the main things that people want when they're here. And honestly, it's not that bad of a drive, especially if it's not peak tourist season, to be able to get through and down to the beach. Now, next, which is number 8, is you have the excellent education facilities that you have. Everything that is in Crestview ranks from a B+ to an A-. What's that average? An A. Yeah. Now, this is, of course, according to niche.com. And if you are looking things for the kiddos, if you go to niche.com, which I always tell people this, is if you're looking up schools, look at the reviews. Look at the reviews, because that's going to be the best indication of what it actually is like for the kids or for the parents that put their kids into the school. Now, I think there's been a couple of classes that had their teenagers write some reviews in there. I think it's some of the good kids that put those in. And of course, you have some that are, well, they're teenagers. They're gonna be brats. So they did put some stuff in there. So just keep an eye out on that. But when we look at it, it really does correlate from the people that we've helped move to that area. That of course, we've kept in contact with over the years, and they've said yes, that's very close to what it's actually like for the kiddos there. So pretty awesome. Okay, and number 9, we're getting close, is the strong military presence there. We're surrounded by 7 installations here on the Emerald Coast. The 2 closest ones that we do have is Duke Field, and we also have the Army 7th Group that is down there. So we have the 7th Group with all the support, and then of course we have Duke Field that's there. So that's right there close to Crestview. So if you're going to be stationed in those areas, that's a good place to go, Crestview. Now, if you're more towards the destination, Fort Walton Beach, Shalimar is going to be maybe a better fit for you. But the best way to know outside of those research is just to talk to any of us on our team here, and we can kind of see what's important to you and put you in the right place. But in any case, yes, there's a strong military presence, not just from just the active duty people, but there's a lot of vets, just like myself. There's a lot of military veterans that are out here that kind of keep that same sort of essence, we'll call it, going. That we typically see. Now, if you come from an area that doesn't have a military base around it, then it's going to be a little weird. I actually had a person that was looking to move here, and they stayed in Crestview specifically, and he said every time they could go to get coffee or whatever, there were always people in uniform. There's always people in uniform. It kind of freaked him out. It's like, I don't know if I'm on a military base, or are we being taken over, what's going on? And he decided not to move here because of it. But they're just going to work, man. They're just going to work. So yes, you're going to see that here, and it's actually pretty nice in my opinion. All right, last but not least, we got number 10 is the future growth and development of this area. All right, so moving up to Route 85, which goes straight up to Crestview from Eglin Air Force Base and that area from Fort Walton and from Fort Walton. Yeah, I see. I'm trying to pull it together. That area is also being improved. They've been improving the roads. I'm hoping that at some point they turn this thing into a 3-lane highway, but as of now, it's still 2. And the traffic getting into Crestview, I gotta tell you, can be a little rough. again, around the same time that the installations get out from 3 to 7 p.m., we see the same thing in Navarre between the same time trying to get from Hurlburt Field out there. It's just because the infrastructure just doesn't support that amount of traffic at that time. But we are seeing more improvements and then working on the bridges and whatnot to improve the infrastructure that's out there. Speaking of, you also have Antioch Road that they've redone to finally do 2 lanes, which is great. They've always had 2 lanes turning off to go in there, and you had to merge into 1 lane, and it was just a nightmare. But now they're fixing that. They're actually putting in a couple of other developments that are out there too, which will also help the commerce in that area. Of course, they are building up the Crestview Commons. I did talk about Chick-fil-A, which is just north of I-10. So just kind of behind where that is where they're going to be putting those in. There's going to be an Aldi's up in Crestview, which is going to be great. So definitely look out for that. And housing developments. There's a lot of new housing. So if you're looking for new houses, you want a lot of space, you want that new feel community, man, this is it. This is it. All right, well, that's all I have for the top 10 things you didn't know about living in Crestview. If you got any questions about anything I mentioned here, please leave it in the comments below. If you got anything you'd like to add, please keep it positive. Go ahead and put it here in the comments below. And of course, if you are moving to Crestview or any of the surrounding areas and you need some help, please give myself, my team here a call. Give us a text, throw us a message on social media. Shoot us an email, whatever you got to do. We got your back when moving here to the Crestview and the Destin-Fort Walton Beach area. So again, my name's Tim Whittemore with the Whittemore Group here with LPT Realty. We'll see you in our next video. Take care.
Moving to Destin, Florida is apparently on the to-do list for many people around the country. So if you're getting ready to relocate to the area, or at least considering it, then researching Destin should also be on that to-do list. Well, you've clicked on the right video because today I'm going to talk about 5 pros and 5 cons of living in Destin.